Let's talk to Cormac Smith, former Ukraine Foreign Minister advisor, of course. A lot of excitement over the night when it broke late last night, that there was some kind of peace deal in the Black Sea. It got slightly more complicated after that because it would appear that Russia would only agree to the peace deal that they'd already agreed to if there was further sanctions lifted and further companies being allowed to operate in the rest of the world. Let's find out from Cormac what's actually going on. Cormac, very good morning to you.
Morning to you, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, good to speak to you. Not bad. It seems as though people are saying to me that Black Sea was already a lost area for Putin, so it was not much for him to give up because he'd already kind of been beaten there. But he sort of pulled the rug at the last minute, didn't he?
Yeah, well, look, two things to say. One about the Black Sea. Putin has, over a year ago, withdrawn his entire Black Sea fleet because the Ukrainians, a nation without a navy, had sunk over a third of it, including its flagship, the Moscow, back in April 22. And they had returned their grain and fertilizer exports to very close to pre-war standards. So Ukraine was effectively controlling the Black Sea export routes. The other area which is involved in this, of course, is attacks on energy infrastructure. And this has been hitting Ukraine very, very hard in recent years. But of course, we're coming into the summer period where it's less critical on Ukraine. And what Ukraine has been doing recently with their own developed long-range missiles, they have been taking a horrendous toll on Russian oil facilities and oil refineries and so forth, which goes to the very heart of the Russian economy and Russia's ability to fight the war. So I would say there's not much in this, but what there is in it seems to be in it for Russia. But then, of course, the interesting point, again, there seems to be conditions, and it seems to be conditional on sanctions on Russia being lifted, including the very important sanction of Russia being allowed back into SWIFT, which is the international
Money exchange,
money exchange. Sorry, I lost my words.
Easily done.
It would seem to me, Mike, that the Ukrainians weren't aware of this. And there has been a war of words with President Zelensky accusing the Russians of lying, which of course is very easy to do because back in my day in Ukraine, I worked for a minister who used to say that Russia lies on an industrial scale. This is what they do. But the statement that was released from the White House seems to make it very clear that, yes, Donald Trump is going to look into having various sanctions lifted. And, of course, that would require the cooperation not just of America, but of the rest of us in the West and other countries who are employing those sanctions. So I think this is a great big nothing burger.
Right. So is there a ceasefire, and even if there was, would it matter?
I don't think so.
Right.
There's no ceasefire as yet. If there is, it's a partial ceasefire. It is not a peace agreement of any idea. And we've got to remember, it's 2 weeks on since the Americans proposed a 30-day unconditional ceasefire, which Zelensky immediately signed the Ukrainian people up to. The Russians immediately came in. I said it wouldn't go anywhere at the time because the Russians came in with conditions which were absolutely impossible for the Ukrainians to accept. Should focus on the word unconditional. What we're trying to achieve at the moment is some sort of a ceasefire so negotiations can progress. And what we've seen yesterday and overnight, does not give me an awful lot of hope, if I'm very honest.
No, sure.
And also, it would seem that the Trump administration is doing everything to encourage and reward Russia and not acting in Ukraine's interest. That's how I read it, and that's how my Ukrainian friends read it.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I will say wait and see, and we'll see how it all comes out in the wash. Cormac, good to talk to you. Cormac Smith, former Ukraine Foreign Minister advisor, of course.